What's going on, guys? It's your boy. Today I have Satri with me again.
Hello.
We're doing the top, well, let's just say like the most controversial characters. This is sort of like if you put this character's name in a Discord like server, shit's just gonna pop off. Like if you Google controversial characters, you'll probably get like a decent understanding of what this list is about. I reckon the controversial stuff on my channel has been really interesting. You guys tend to engage with it well. You know, let me know if you agree with our takes. We're going to be doing some hot takes here. So starting off with the first one, we have Neji. Neji's controversial for a few reasons. The main thing we're going to be talking about in this video is like narrative and power stuff. Neji is definitely, most certainly, a narrative thing.
Yeah, it's definitely something that Kishimoto maybe could have thought out better. Neji preaches about destiny and all that, and you know how Naruto, the whole narrative of the Naruto versus Neji fight is for Naruto to overcome destiny. Neji sort of sees from that he can also overcome his destiny.
Yeah, and it's just like people will make these videos and say like Neji was right. You when you first start watching Naruto, you get behind the underdog story. Like Naruto is an underdog. The Nine Tails is messing with his character. It's messing with his chakra control. It's all this stuff. But then you find out that he's the son of one of the strongest Kage to ever exist. And but then you also get this information that he's like a reincarnation of someone who is destined to fight their best friend. People interpret this a few different ways. One way people sort of misinterpret it is that he's bound to be powerful. Ashura is just an L magnet. His whole character is to just be shit at everything.
It's not the case where you're just born into power and you're like this prodigy and you're bound to grow into like a god level fighter. Like that's not what happens at all.
Yeah, the Neji was right argument, I've just never understood it. Me personally, the Neji was right argument was so weird. It was so weird. Neji's still described as a genius even in like part 2 now. Obviously part 2 has some crazy power cliffing. People also think Neji could beat like most of the Akatsuki, which
oh god.
Probably not. I'd say Neji fans, sorry, but probably not.
You know what the best feat Neji has in Shippuden
Oh god,
is?
yeah, go on.
It's beating a clone of himself.
I do like a Neji, don't get me wrong. This is not a Neji hate thing. I think the Neji versus Kidomaru fight is probably one of my favorite fights in the series, but overall, like we just said, we just gave you like 5 different reasons why like Neji's contentious, and this list is so long. So I guess we can sort of move on to Sasuke and Itachi. I think
those two kind of need to be talked about as a duo.
People that don't actually watch Naruto, I think, are the biggest the haters of these two characters. Sasuke, you've got to understand, is a victim of circumstance. People look at Sasuke's edge and descent into hatred and just think that he's a emo, whiner, you know, Suki Lala character, which is just so disingenuous, I feel. Like, you actually got to realize that Sasuke lost everything when he was, 5 years old. Characters like Naruto, I think actually like part 1 actually gets a lot of stuff right about Sasuke and Naruto. Naruto never had those connections to begin with to eventually lose. So yes, the kid is going to have some edge to him. There are a lot of people in the real world that have more edge than Sasuke that have way less horrendous circumstances.
He lives his whole life trying to avenge his clan, trying to avenge his family, bring his honor back, just to kill this brother who he sees as the embodiment of evil pretty much. He's like willing to do anything for that. But later on, he figures out that this criminal brother, like this, just the worst guy ever, was actually like still a loving brother. He sacrificed everything for Sasuke and the village.
Yeah.
And the village that he was taught to love his entire life is actually like the culprit behind his family's death. And he figures out that this village that he loved his entire life was actually just like the shittiest place ever. Like they forced his brother, who was like 14 at the time, to slaughter his own family to prevent a war from happening. So obviously he's going to not be happy. He's going to want revenge for his brother, And like the whole thing with Sasuke, like, oh, Sasuke's dumb, Itachi wanted him to go back to the leaf. Bro, you find out your brother was like forced to kill your family by this village. You're really going to go back there and just
Yeah,
pretend nothing
yeah.
happened?
But the same place where your whole family died, like people really don't understand Sasuke's edge, and it is goofy when he's laughing evil, like he has his evil laugh at Kakashi, and he's saying he's going to kill him, and he's acting crazy. But something you got to understand about the Sharingan is that it is just like a hate magnet. I guess we could also like link Sasuke and Itachi together. People don't get Itachi. People look at like Itachi and are like, how come he let a Danzo bully him? Like, that's just so weird. If I was in Itachi's position, I would have killed Danzo. Bro, these people are indoctrinated as soon as they're born to love the village. It's almost like brainwashing in a way, honestly. Like, not the same degree, but Kakashi, who is very unbiased, loves the village. He is willing to kill himself to save Choji just so that they get a little bit of intel on pain. Like, that's the extent that these people go for the village. So, and also Itachi as a 4-year-old child saw death and, horrendous like tragedy to such a scale that he would do anything in his power to avoid this. Of course he's going to do anything he can to basically stop the village going to war. Of course he's going to stop, the thing that gets contentious with Itachi that I do get really is like his unnecessary like violence, like putting Kakashi in Tsukuyomi and putting like Sasuke in Tsukuyomi. Like, yeah, I'll give you that. Fair enough. Like, that's a bit weird.
To sort of defend Itachi, he did want Sasuke to hate him as much as possible,
Exactly,
and to think of him as like the embodiment of evil and stuff like that, so he would grow up to be a good man.
Yeah.
And he wanted to eventually die to another Uchiha, and he wants Sasuke to be immune, like as immune as possible to Obito's manipulating after he's dead.
Yeah.
Like, he wants Sasuke to just be firmly convinced that Itachi is like this worst guy ever, and that he even tries to kill Obito from beyond the grave.
Speaking of the Uchiha tragedies and all this stuff, we have Danzo. Like, I feel.
Do we even need to talk about this? Like, do we even need to explain?
I feel like you guys, like Loco, like Prod, and all you guys, like you're the only ones to ever like Danzo. I don't like Danzo, and I have had people in my comments say like, don't defend Danzo, don't defend Danzo. This Will of Fire thing is like so warped in Danzo's brain that I almost feel bad for him, because he honestly thinks what he's doing is right. He is actually trying to save the village by killing the Uchiha. He actually does think that is the only course of action. Now, you could argue that he could have been a little bit patient.
His whole warped perception of the Will of Fire, it's sort of sad that he tries to do his best to do what is right, but everything he does just makes things worse.
Yeah, exactly,
But
man.
I will say that from the perspective of the village, the Uchiha could have revolted at any day. Like, things had escalated to the point where any day the coup could happen, and any day a war could break out, like a civil war in the village. He really didn't have a choice to wait any longer, because it's like, either jump the Uchiha or the Uchiha jump you. Like, it wasn't like it had escalated to that point already.
Totally get it. Danzo also sort of he's sort of like a little bit sadistic in a way, the way that he treats, Sasuke and Itachi. But people don't understand. Like, Danzo actually has the utmost respect for Itachi. He's like, he sacrificed himself. Like, he's like, that Uchiha lad sacrificed everything for the village, and the village, blah, blah, blah. Like, these people are indoctrinated, that my dude, like, whatever they do for the sake of the village, quote unquote, they actually really do believe in. So, yeah, Danzo's controversial character. He's also controversial due to some like Shisui stuff. Like, people like to downplay that because, Shisui kind of got bodied by Danzo, but for all we know, like, Danzo could have been like Kage level.
Another thing with Itachi is that when Sasuke actually shows Danzo that he knows the truth about the Uchiha massacre, Danzo sort of backtracks. He's like, yo, Itachi, did he really say that? Wow, he actually was kind of a traitor to the leaf then.
Yeah, he actually loses a bit of respect. Yeah,
he had respect, and then he kind of lost it when he thinks that Itachi let it slip that he was ordered by the village to destroy the Uchiha.
So yeah, Danzo, totally get why he's hated, but you guys got to understand what like this Will of Fire thing is. It's like fully like twisted. It's actually sort of dark in a way, but I feel like Kishimoto is trying to represent the real world. Like you know that there are places in the world that we can't name on YouTube that I gotta do. Shit just got too real. Anyway.
And speaking of Danzo and hating the Uchiha,
perfect.
Tobirama and Minato. Like, we sort of have both of them as a placement here because, obvious reasons, Tobirama versus Minato. But, Tobirama is like, all those memes that he's an Uchiha hater.
Not true.
I just don't understand
Not true.
that. Like, he literally says that the Uchiha, he's just wary of them because they're so emotional. He literally explains that whole thing. Like, he's been fighting the Uchiha his whole life.
Yep.
He's seen death. He's seen them die, and he's seen his own siblings and his own comrades die by their hand.
Yep.
He knows how emotional they are, and he's just wary of that. He doesn't discriminate against them. He's just wary of how much they can cause when they actually do go into that like emotional rogue mode, you could say,
Which fair enough.
He doesn't hate them. He treats them fairly, pretty much, for the most part. Like, Danzo is the one who misinterprets him, and then, the Ninetales attack happens, and he suspects like the Uchiha for that, which is fair enough. The Uchiha can't control the Ninetales.
If you actually look at like Tobirama and Sasuke's dynamic, it's actually sort of like one of the coolest things in the series because Tobirama starts his interaction with Sasuke very heated, very cautious, as you just mentioned, as you just sort of described. And then he's begging Madara to not kill Sasuke. And Tobirama's going out of his way to help an Uchiha, and even Hashirama's like, that Uchiha lad, referring to Sasuke, is like, he's like something else, like he's special. And I don't understand the Tobirama hate thing. It's sort of just like a really big crutch for Tobirama haters to just hate on him for no reason. So you're absolutely right. I don't agree with it. I think the reason for me he's really controversial, and we'll get on, we'll talk about this in an upcoming video, but is because of his power level, which is super unclear. like you think it's clear. I think it's very ambiguous.
Yeah, I think it's ambiguous too.
I think,
great. It just depends on like the interpretation. I have a higher interpretation. You have a lower interpretation of his power. Everything is fairly. Like Naruto isn't a clear-cut series. Like, it's very open-ended at points. Like you said.
People think like Tobirama's trash, weak, like disgust, like actually the weakest Kage, like weaker than Hiruzen as like an old man, like kind of weak, which is just probably not true unless you really hate Tobirama. I just don't get it. I don't get it anymore. I think that's like people speaking through just emotion. Minato as well is sort of one of those characters. We sort of get a lot of Minato hate. I feel like it's because he's popular. People hate him a lot, which, is fair. It's kind of annoying when people overhype characters that maybe don't deserve it as much, but you got to admit, like Minato and Tobirama, they're definitely beastly, and they definitely have a lot going on for them. I'd say for me, the reason Minato is really contentious and controversial is just because what he did to Naruto, which honestly, fair enough. Like, he didn't need to seal away the Ninetales, I feel.
Yeah, honestly, like what he could have done, and this is something that I actually did for
what if?
Video, like what if Kushina survived?
Yeah.
Minato could have just sealed the Ninetales back into Kushina.
Yeah.
That's I don't know why he didn't think about that, because Kushina was still like, before she got pierced open, obviously, but before that, Kushina was still able to be saved. If Minato is implied to have like sealing jutsu that could seal the Ninetales without the Reaper Death Seal.
Yeah.
But what he could have done at the very least is take the Reaper Death Seal and split him into two still, and then seal both halves into Kushina, or seal one half into Naruto and one into Kushina, and then they both could have, like, he would have died, but Kushina at least would have survived.
Like, Naruto sees his dad for the first time and punches him in the head. That's how, like, much... and even Minato's like, fair enough, dude. Like, you must have had a hard life. I'm sorry. I kind of feel as well, like, people overrate Minato. People People overrate Tobirama. People think Minato could fight Madara. People think Hashirama is like a rival for Minato, which I don't know. Like I get,
Yeah.
like I don't even feel bad because Kishimoto did such a strange job with the war arc that it's kind of fair. And these characters, like if you put them in like a Discord server, people are just going to start yelling at each other. They definitely deserve a spot on this list.
And just in general, like people think Minato can like scale to 8th gate guy and stuff. You know, it's sort of fair to say, like, you know, maybe if you watch the series just once and you saw that scene and you're like, oh, Minato actually reacted to the truth-seeking orbs or something. But you know, if you just look at it a bit deeper, it can easily be debunked.
Yeah, and I mean, like, it's we just did a video on like Minato versus Tobirama. You could also debunk a lot of Tobirama's best scaling. So
yeah, they're both like they both have like ridiculously low lows and ridiculously high highs.
That's actually a perfect way to put it. We do a video where we talk about what we think of each character. I do think Minato wins the Tobirama fight, but if for what it's worth, like if you've tuned out of the video, I actually do like Tobirama a bit more. I think Tobirama is a little bit more interesting, but Minato still kind of also deserves a bit of the hype. Like I feel they're both very popular characters, but they also just like any popular character, they are very controversial. I guess we can move on to Kakuzu.
Oh God,
shit.
Yo. Hear me out. The Two Tails is above KCM Naruto.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Because base Yugito is already like KCM Naruto level. Kakuzu just catches it, and the ground beneath him gives out, and he gets like stomped on. But then he like solos the Two Tails completely, like no diffs it.
Yeah.
And we know that KCM Naruto is way below that level. He also travels alongside Itachi in one panel, Edo Itachi. So, like, you know, Edo Itachi, the same guy who was casually swapping hands with KCM Naruto. And Kakuzu also, he was off guard against Naruto. You know, when he hears the Rasen Shuriken behind him and Naruto's like a few meters away, he's just confused. He doesn't use the KCM level speed to dodge him. No.
So
he's just confused, you know.
You know what I feel as well? Like, you know how Killer B looks up to Gugito and people put Gugito above Killer B? You know what I also think? I just think Hashirama looks up to Itachi. Itachi above Hashirama. Yeah.
Yeah, you know, they said, Hashirama said, Itachi's a better
shinobi than me.
Kakuzu's keeping up with him, you know. Kakuzu also killed Hashirama too, so it's consistent, you know.
You know what else is maybe likely? Maybe Kakashi and Kakuzu are just relative.
No way, man. No way, dude.
Guys, you should know what we're doing here. If you don't understand, there is some insane Kakuzu wank going on in the community. It's sort of like, I almost feel like it's a troll, but I honestly don't know if it's a troll or not. I just don't know how you can look at the series like at all ever. Like all of my friends, we disagree on everything. We disagree on Itachi. We disagree on Madara. We disagree on God, name us. God, name any freaking thing. We all think like Kakuzu and Pain is not a fight. I don't even think it's close. Yeah, that's Kakuzu. He's contentious. You know, I don't know if anyone even really still thinks that. I don't see it in my comment section, thank God. But hey, it's a thing, and he's fun to troll and he's fun to talk about. You know.
But speaking of killing Hashirama,
oh God,
we have someone who wasn't able to kill Hashirama, and that is Madara.
Oh God, the Madara thing's crazy. The Madara might be #1 most contentious character. Maybe. Like the more I think about it, like not quite, but he's at least top 3. I feel top 5, bare minimum top 5 most contentious character in the whole Naruto show, which is a pretty insane feat when you think about it.
Yeah, because like think of Madara and any popular matchup he has. Any popular matchup. Kaguya, Hashirama, Naruto, Sasuke,
the
Momoshiki,
Hokage,
Ishiki. Yeah, the other Hokage. Like think of any matchup. No one agrees. Yeah, Akatsuki. It's like nobody agrees on where Madara truly scales. You have people who say like, "Oh,
Yeah.
you're all Madara simps." Like Hidan could actually cut him, and then you have the other side that says Madara is an absolute god. He beats Ishiki one on one.
Yep.
It's so weird. And even in terms of narrative, like people contest his plan. I do think it's actually kind of makes the series less impactful, knowing that everything was just planned by Madara and Zetsu's. Like Nagato got the
Yeah.
Rinnegan because of Madara,
Yeah.
all that stuff. It makes the world feel a bit smaller.
But like, as well with like Madara, like people debate his smarts. People think that Madara is smart enough to take down Ishiki and Jigen.
Yeah.
Like I mean, like, yeah,
I hate to break it to you
no,
guys, but if he couldn't defeat Hashirama,
yeah,
who's like at most twice as strong as him,
yeah,
like if he couldn't overcome that difference in power, then I'm not sure what he's supposed to do against someone
dude,
who can just kick adult Sasuke out of his perfect Susanoo like
yeah,
nothing.
yeah. Can I tell you something that's crazy? So
Hmm?
they both have regen in Edo Tensei. People like to bring up that Madara is stronger than Hashirama because Hashirama just has regen, and Madara kicked his ass the whole time, and Hashirama can use regen to wear him down. Did you know in Edo Tensei they both have regen, but he gets a Rinnegan amp. He gets a Rinnegan amp, which is massive. Hashirama
Yep.
beats Madara faster in Edo Tensei than he does when they're alive. But I feel like Madara. We should also talk about Obito because Obito's contentious for a
Yeah.
very different reason. Very different reason, and that's because of the Rin stuff.
Yeah,
The-
some people think he's like on some on some P word
yeah,
energy.
that's right. I think you guys know
On
what we're
some
talking about.
allegations. Obito, as a child,
Yeah.
he's not smart, he's not strong, he's an idiot. He's just a loser in like this most prestigious clan in the world. Then add on top of that he has a teammate, Kakashi, that became Jonin at age 12.
Ninja
and
Jesus.
is just like this, and who constantly makes him look terrible. It's like how Naruto felt about Sasuke, but even worse. Like,
Yeah.
it's if Sasuke at the beginning of part 1 was already a Jonin. And then he actually gets Ren like kidnapped. And he's able to convince Kakashi to help him out. He's able to actually befriend this rival that he has. The moment he does that, the moment he actually gains something,
Oh,
the moment he
God.
unlocks the Sharingan too, he dies.
Yeah.
Or not dies, but,
Horrendously.
gets crushed.
Horribly.
Like,
The worst
Yeah.
death you could ask for, just about being crushed to death while blind next to the girl that you love, while your best friend is absolutely putting in work with your own powers. It's just completely cooked. Like,
And he gives like the most prized thing he has, the Sharingan, to his
Yeah.
best friend in hopes of actually like protecting him and Rin in the future. And then he gets discovered by Madara, wakes up in this like creepy old man's dungeon, and then he gets word that his teammates Kakashi and Rin are in trouble. He goes to save them. He sees his love interest, like his crush, like the last ray of hope he had in this like cursed world, die by the hands of his best friend, who he entrusted everything into. He made Kakashi promise him that he'll protect Rin. He gave Kakashi his most prized possession, the Sharingan, and Kakashi
Yep.
failed him. He let him down. Rin was like the last ray of hope he had in this world. He had nothing else except Rin, Kakashi, and Minato. And he just sees like Rin get murdered by Kakashi. So he lost both of his best friends. And then he walks up to Rin. He's like, "Let's make a world where you're alive again." That's basically him saying that, let's make a world where hope is still there, like where
And-
I can still be happy. And that's how he goes over to the dark side.
but you got to realize that Rin isn't like Rin. He actually says like Rin was everything good in this world. So when that's taken away from you, you're sort of justifiably pissed off. He even says like to Kakashi numerous times, "I am convinced this isn't even real life." Like that's how far gone
Yeah.
he is. Like you can't tell me that that's not a broken character. And then people just discredit Obito and just call him like a
Yeah.
Obito as well gets a little bit of contentious because he's like too strong For all that we know, guys, like honestly, I'm being dead set honest, Obito might have like the biggest hatred amp in the series. That massacre he does to like the Miss Jonin might be the biggest Mangekyo hatred amp we ever see. And that could be a reason why Obito's able to keep pace with Minato. Anyway, I feel like that's enough about Obito. Obito's so complicated. Like, he's probably one of the most complicated characters in Naruto, I'd say, and you know, complexity just breeds complexity. And, you know, that's probably why he's so controversial. But, you know, let me know what you think about Obito. I'm actually very curious to see what the community thinks now about someone like Obito because, you know, I remember seeing that all the time in like 2017, like 2018.
But then, moving on, someone that is very related to Madara when it comes to controversy.
Yep.
Someone who may have actually caused the legacy of Madara to fall apart. Zetsu and Kaguya.
This is justifiable. We're getting into the parts where I actually, you know, like, fuck Zetsu. Like, I actually fucking hate Zetsu and Kaguya. No, actually, I'll change that. I like Kaguya, what she represents, like the, you know, finally like our characters move past samsara and the cycle of hatred and stuff. I just don't think Zetsu is interesting at all. Like I think Zetsu kind of misses the mark for a Naruto villain a little bit.
Zetsu, I think, was really cool before he backstabbed Madara.
Yeah.
He was like this shadow of Madara, like a literal shadow of Madara, a shadow of the main villain. Going around spying on people, assassinating like the daimyo and stuff like that. Well, he tried to, but he got stopped. But still, you know, he was really cool. Taking over Obito as well. That scene where Obito, Zetsu, and Madara both say at the same time,
Art of Rebirth.
That's cool.
It brings me chills every time I watch it. Like, it's so good. And then he just backstabs Madara. No, you know, Madara, you are not the savior. I planned everything. I am the big mastermind. Mama Kaguya, come back to life.
No foreshadowing, by the way. No foreshadowing.
Yeah.
Like comments tell me if there is foreshadowing, but I don't think there is.
And even with Kaguya, like, yeah, she represents the samsara cycle of hatred and all that. But wouldn't Madara have been a way better representation of that? Like, someone who actually went through these wars, these cycles of hatred, someone who had to betray his best friend, and someone who was betrayed by his best friend too. Someone who lost people close to him. Like, wouldn't that be way more interesting final villain than Kaguya?
Well, we've got to make money, my dude. We got to make money, you know? We've got to put in these alien rabbits and blah, blah, blah. The reason I really dislike these characters... I kind of like Kaguya because I find her abilities really cool. I think she's kind of like... I don't know. I think she's really badass the way that she fights and what she represents I feel is cool. But, like, Kaguya led us into Boruto... And like we went from ninjas, cycle of hatred. We went from like what it means to be a shinobi, enduring. You know what it means to be family, what it means to be a brother, what having a friend means. To
the pain of loss,
the pain, the burden of loss, the burden of hatred. Interesting things about dying for your country. To just cyborg aliens and power scaling and more cyborg aliens and Wonder Woman 1984 plot twists and stuff.
So back to Kaguya. I feel like another contentious thing we can talk about besides her narrative is her power scaling.
Yep.
Like, it's the same deal with with Madara. Kaguya versus Ishiki, Kaguya versus Momoshiki, Kaguya versus Madara even.
Kaguya versus Itachi.
But anyway, yeah, I think it's pretty self-explanatory why Kaguya and Zetsu are up here. But then, speaking of Kaguya and that whole fight and the finale of the series and saving the world from Kaguya, we have Sakura.
Who is able to damage Kaguya.
Speed blitzes and one-shots.
Hey, all I'm saying, if Kishimoto is writing the story, then yeah, those feats... pretty crazy. But in all seriousness, Sakura is probably like one of the most justifiable hated characters in Naruto, I feel. I think Satori kind of disagrees a little bit on this, but I personally like Sakura a lot in part 1, just because she's a child and she deserves to be whiny and sucky. She's kind of just thrown into these superhero wizard people, and she's not very good. She's not very talented. She's got the brain, but she hasn't really got like the brawn to apply it. So she's justifiable in her like whinginess and her like, in her useless, like the useless meme, like she is useless. It makes sense. There's a lot of characters in part 1 that are useless. Sakura is actually not useless in part 2, but she is a cunt in part 2 to Naruto. And she actually manipulates Naruto more so than anyone else, I feel. She's gaslighting Naruto and making him feel bad about Sasuke when like Naruto can do nothing about Sasuke at this point. Naruto needs a little bit more to take down Sasuke.
For me personally, I think Sakura, the concepts that she has are
definitely
super good. Like actually, because at first she's like a whiny child, but she's on a team with Kakashi the Copy Ninja, a reincarnation of Asura and Indra. That's something we talked about isn't that important, but she's up there with an Uchiha and an Uzumaki.
Yep.
And she's up there with these crazy people. And then she puts in the work in Shippuden, like in early Shippuden. She fights Sasori, an Akatsuki member, which, you can say whatever you want again about Sasori and his power, but he's still an Akatsuki member. He's still at the very least like low Kage level.
Yep.
And she does put in the work against him. He even monologues in his head how good Sakura is. And she later on saves Chiyo a couple times. She saves Kankuro too.
Yep.
She does all this cool stuff in the beginning. And then Kishimoto just sort of drops her off.
You know what happens?
Doesn't really do much.
Happens when Sasuke gets back in the story, which is like the biggest thing that people have an issue with. It's like, as soon as Sasuke comes back, everyone has problems with Sakura again.
Yeah, and then we have the Kage Summit, obviously. It's like, well, first of all, I guess the Pain arc, she heals people. She heals a ton of people.
Yeah.
And she cannot fight Pain at that point because she's, like, 1, she's tired from that much healing. 2, Shukaku verbatim says to everyone, do not fight Pain. Like, Naruto is there. Do not get in the way.
You'll get in the way.
I guess Sakura didn't really hear that because, Shukaku wasn't near her.
Yeah.
But she should still be able to just see that. Like, Pain blew up the village. Like, what's she gonna do?
Yeah, exactly.
In the war, you have that whole meme where she caught up to Naruto and stuff like that. But
yeah,
I low-key think she actually did. There's like a data book statement backing that up too. And she's also nuking the battlefield, healing a bunch of people. And then you get to the Kaguya fight where she just puts in the work. She helps rescue Sasuke from a different dimension. She pushes Kaguya back into Naruto and Sasuke. Like
I just would say she's at her worst. Anytime she's with Sasuke and anytime she's mean to Naruto. And that's pretty much how I feel.
Yeah, I would agree. Sakura, she's very bad in like the war arc by some people's standards or by some people's views. But people don't really seem to have much of a problem with her in the Boruto era. Oh. And that's where that brings us to, is Boruto.
Yeah, nice. Look, here's the thing. I was a victim of this. I don't even blame people for being mad at it. Boruto just sucks in the anime. The anime does Boruto so bad. The anime gets Boruto wrong completely. And it's even 100%. It's even worse, bro, because it's so long and it's so full of filler that they miss all of like the important character stuff that happens with Code and Momoshiki and Kawaki. So we just have like 3 real life years of Boruto not getting any character development. Boruto in the manga is just blatantly better. Way better.
Boruto in the manga is like top 20 favorite Naruto characters for me. Like it's actually really good. And people claim that Boruto has no development, and in the anime, at least in filler, he actually kind of doesn't. But in the manga, and when the anime is adapting the manga too, he goes from being this like indifferent guy who's like a brat. He grew up in a peaceful world. It's like comparing us, like the
Yeah.
current generation, like Gen Z, to like war veterans from
Yeah.
World War II, you know?
That's
You're
perfect,
obviously
yeah.
going to be softer, you're going to be bratty. He gets exposed for being a cheater, he pulls himself together, he develops a distaste for ninja tools, and he actually puts in the work. He trains,
Yeah.
he works hard. He's a kind of a genius, so that hard work pays off quickly, but, you know, it's still something that he does work towards.
He's a lot more
He
like
actually
Sasuke.
despises. Yeah. Boruto actually becomes more patriotic toward the village. He respects his father again.
Yeah, he calls him
And
Hokage.
he actually, yeah, calls him Hokage. And he actually is about to kill himself in the Ishiki fight. Like, when he figures out that Ishiki needs him alive, he puts a kunai to his throat.
Yep.
And if Ishiki didn't shrink it, he would have stabbed his own throat out. Like,
Yep.
like he goes from this indifferent brat to being willing to sacrifice himself for the village. And the Code Arc in general, I feel like ever since Kishimoto took over Boruto, then things have been rolling downhill. But the
Yep.
Boruto stuff in the current Boruto manga is really good still, I would say. It's just like other characters like Code messing it up. But
I would say that
Boruto is pretty good.
I would say my hate for Boruto isn't actually Boruto himself, unless it's the anime. My hate for Boruto is actually just straight up the bad writing, the terrible villains, except for Jigen. Jigen's cool, and I like Delta, but I just feel like it just misses that mark. And I've said this for a long time. I don't find any Boruto villain as interesting or as compelling as someone like Haku. Haku has a lot, like Kawaki has a bit to say, but like in terms of like Naruto quality, it doesn't really reach that level for me. And yeah, Boruto himself is also like very contentious because of his Momoshiki power level. Some people think it's just a copy of Kurama. It's actually worse than having Kurama, like dead set. Like it's actually
Probably, yeah.
it's kind of messed up how crazy overpowered Boruto is. But like, I wouldn't want Momoshiki. Like, you know what I mean? It's absolutely absurd. It's so absurd, and you know, Boruto himself has so much going on. Like it's such a mess what's going on with Boruto at the minute. Just know that the Boruto manga is actually better, but not right now. I don't think it's as good anymore. I think it fell off after Ishiki died.
So yeah, I think that's about it.
Yeah, pretty
How
solid
long
list.
Is this gonna be?
Oh, it's gonna be like, I'll edit it down. Promise me. I'll promise you that. But guys, let me know what you think. Let me know what you disagree with. Let me know if there's anyone we missed. I'm sure that there is. I'm sure there's like someone like very obvious. Like I was gonna put Naruto on the list, but nah, that's just not. Naruto's fine. You didn't deal with it. Sasuke's more controversial than Naruto. Naruto's great. I love him. But let me know who we missed. Guys, thank you so much for watching and subscribing. Definitely check out Satri. He definitely is getting up there like with us. Like we're definitely excited to put more Satri on the channel. We're going to do like weird games, weird live streams. Like we got some good stuff coming. So just note that there'll be a lot more Satri in the channel. So thank you so much for stopping by. It's always a pleasure to have you on. And thanks everybody for watching. I'll catch y'all later. Bye.